As much as we all laugh at Ash Ketchum for not learning anything about basic type advantages and Pokemon battle tactics, his accomplishments are actually nothing to scoff at.
Pikachu the Horn! It worked!
Out of all the trainers in the Kanto region, he was one of only 16 to advance to the 5th round of the Indigo Plateau Conference. He's won himself 48 total gym badges. He was a quarter finalist in the Johto League, Hoenn League, and Unova League. He was the Sinnoh League semifinalist and Kalos League finalist. For a guy whose strategy is literally Pikachu shock, it's not effective, will shock harder, Ash has bested some of the strongest trainers in the world. And yet, we've still never seen him face his most formidable opponent, puberty. Hello, Internet! Welcome to, game theory? Film theory. Flip a coin theory. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. This one falls into kind of a weird gray area because it's about Pokemon, but it's not about the games specifically, it's about the anime. A topic that would normally go on film theory. Curse you, ever blurrier lines on how we consume content in an ever-changing digital landscape. Curse you! Anyway, since the mystery of Ash's age was something you overwhelmingly voted to see during the last Pokemon game theory, I decided it made the most sense to put it here. Hopefully that's not offensive to too many of you. So, Ash Ketchum. You know him, you love him, you ship him with Misty. This young would-be Pokemon master has battled his way through over half a dozen regional leagues, 20 seasons, and over 1,000 episodes of televised content, which is a heck of a career for someone who doesn't look a day over... I'm not sure exactly, but he certainly doesn't look like someone who was 10 years old back in 1997. That being said, 20 years passing in the real world doesn't necessarily correlate to 20 years passing on a show, so we can't really be certain of how old Ash is until today. It's time to settle this mystery once and for all. Using the narrator's clues, holidays, seasonal transitions, and even the ripeness of fruit, we can actually calculate just how old this plucky, prepubescent Pokemon professional is. Right off the bat, it's important to establish one key difference between the anime and the video games: our trainer's starting age. On the second page of the instruction manual for Pokemon Red and Blue, we see that, quote, you're an 11-year-old boy living in Pallet Town. However, in the TV show, Ash actually starts his Pokemon journey after reaching the age of 10.
And now that I'm 10, I can finally get my Pokemon license.
10-year-olds can get a beginner Pokemon from Professor Oak.
So for this analysis, we'll be focusing specifically on Ash's age, and that means looking at the TV episodes exclusively. All 1,020 of those TV episodes, which, let me tell you, is a lot of this.
Pikachu! Thunder Shock!
And this.
It's blasting off again!
I don't know if you ever noticed this growing up, but this show is a bit formulaic. The other key detail we need is the date of Ash's birthday. We know that he's 10 when the show starts, but he may not be exactly 10. It's not like everyone in Pallet Town suddenly decided to coordinate the start of their Pokemon journeys around Ash's birthday. He could be as young as exactly 10 years old, or as old as 10 years plus 364 days. Luckily, we can pin down the exact date to the day. According to Takeshi Shudo, chief writer for the Pokemon anime, in his novel Pokemon Pocket Monsters: The Animation Volume 1, we learned that Ash's exact age when he left home was 10 years, 10 months, and 10 days. Quote, I can recall all the past 10 years with Ash. 10 years, 10 months, and 10 days. All of the hardships, the times it was too painful to go on. This is how Delia felt the day that her only son left home. End quote. And if you thought that little bit sounded sad, you should absolutely read the part about Ash's father abandoning his family to become a failed Pokemon trainer a few pages earlier. It is shockingly depressing for a story about a bunch of characters who are meant to be stuffed animals eventually. Anyway, Ash leaves home on April 1st, so counting backwards, we can find that Ash's birthday is on May 22nd, meaning that Ash starts his Pokemon journey at age 10, but turns 11 just a month and a half after leaving Pallet Town. Now, to save us some time, in my last episode, I calculated that Ash's journey through Kanto, the time between the day he meets Pikachu and the day he challenges the Indigo League, is 1 year and 3 months. In other words, he's had 2 birthdays by the time he enters his first Pokemon Championship, making him 12 years old when Season 1 comes to a close. If you want any more details on that, I go into it in the previous Pokemon Theory, link in the iCard in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, or at the end of this video. After losing in the Indigo League, Ash spends his summer licking his wounds in the Orange Islands. You can tell that this whole 36-episode arc takes place over just a few months because the events move quickly as they explore small islands, the weather never really changes, the whole thing is framed as a fetch quest for the GS Ball, and shortly after being crowned Orange League champ, we see Ash heading off to Johto in the fall. Now, here's where things start to get tricky. You see, outside of the mainline anime, between 1999 and 2001, there was a sub-series of direct-to-VHS Pikachu shorts named Pikachu's Winter Vacation, with each collection being 2 or 3 episodes with a winter or Christmas theme. Because they weren't part of the main series, their place in the timeline is actually not super clear. However, since they always feature Christmas Day, there are single best clues to knowing how much time is passing in the anime. And it's these episodes that allow us to determine that the entirety of Ash's Johto journey took him nearly 2 years to complete. Let me explain. In the 2000 release of Pikachu's Winter Vacation, the episode Stantler's Little Helpers shows Ash's and Misty's Pokemon teaming up on Christmas Eve to help Santa cure his sick Stantler. The Pokemon we see team up include Ash's Heracross and Misty's Poliwag. It's also important to note that Ash doesn't have a Cyndaquil in his team yet. This means that the Christmas Day depicted in Stantler's Little Helpers must fall between episode 119 of the anime, where Ash catches a Heracross, and episode 141, where he catches a Cyndaquil. The presence of Misty's Poliwag also confirms this, because we see Poliwag evolve into Poliwhirl in the Totodile Duel, episode 151. So with that being our first winter spent in Johto, Ash is still 12. Our next timeline clue happens 28 episodes later with the Pichu-centric episode, The Apple Core. Now at this point in the series, Ash is a traveling lineup of Bulbasaur, Totodile, Chikorita, Pikachu, Cyndaquil, and his most recent addition, a shiny Noctowl that he caught in episode 154, Foul Play. The next major change in his team will be Chikorita evolving into Bayleaf in episode 199, Current Events. So why does all that matter? Well, first, remember that Johto is based on the Kansai region of Japan, where based on harvest calendars, apples are in season for all months except for summer. So that helps us narrow things down, but to get a precise date, we have to look at Pikachu's next winter vacation. In 2001, Pikachu's holiday cash-in featured the episode Delibird's Dilemma, where Ash's team helps a Delibird recover Santa's presents on Christmas Eve. Ash's team in this episode contained a Noctowl and a Chikorita, meaning that Pikachu's Winter Vacation 2001 edition had to have been sandwiched between catching the Noctowl and the Bayleaf evolution, meaning that another birthday has passed for Ash. So by episode 200 of the anime, our husky-voiced Pokemon Master wannabe is now 13. And that's the last time that we see the team in a Johto winter, meaning that the League Challenge is being held in March of the following year, slightly before Ash's 14th birthday. This leads to the events of the Advanced Seasons, corresponding to the 3rd gen video games focused on the Hoenn region. Episode 1 of this series takes place on April 1st, as our Misty replacement May gets ready to begin her Pokemon quest.
Hi, my name's May, and I'm 10 years old. I'm on my way to meet my dad's friend, Professor Birch, and to get my beginner's Pokemon. Then I can begin my journey as a Pokemon trainer.
And if you're like me at this point, you're probably wondering why every new trainer's Pokemon journey begins on April 1st. Well, it actually has to do with Japan's school year. According to Article 59 of the Ordinance for Enforcement of the School Education Law, quote, "The school year shall start on April 1st and end on March 31st of the following year." And if you're like me right now, you're probably thinking, damn, school year ends on March 31st and the new one starts on April 1st? That's brutal. Also, you're probably asking yourself, why the heck would they start school in April? Well, I dug even deeper to find that one out. Apparently, it's structured this way to match the fiscal year, aka the business year as defined by when you have to pay taxes, which runs in Japan from April to March. Now, all of that might seem like random trivia, but knowing this information about Japanese schools actually really helps us place these early Hoenn episodes. You see, in episode 12, the Lotad Lowdown, it's established that it's warm enough to swim in a lake. But just 3 episodes later, Gonna Rule the School, we see that classes are in session. So knowing that Hoenn is a more tropical region based on Kyushu, a Japanese island closer to the equator, we can look up the average monthly temperatures in that region to see when we could do some decent swimming, and then compare that to the typical Japanese school year, which takes its summer break between August and September, to ultimately conclude that the Hoenn adventure starts around June or July, meaning that Ash is now 14. And that's where it stays. For a surprisingly long time, actually. The Hoenn arc has a ton of episodes, but we don't actually get that many time jumps in it, with each episode adding only a day or two to the overall journey. We can actually double check this with the episode Garden of Eden, number 88, where the team tries to save a local banana harvest from a hungry Snorlax. If you look closely, you'll notice that the bananas used in this episode are slightly smaller than you would expect. And this isn't an accident. While Kyushu isn't tropical enough to really grow its own bananas, the Japanese island of Okinawa, a bit more south, absolutely is. And it's known for growing smaller bananas known as the Shima banana. It's harvested from May to October, which allows us to know that 88 episodes into the season, we're still in the same year. We actually don't hit summer again until the Battle Frontier arc. And we know this through, of all places, 2 Pikachu-centric shorts that aired exclusively on Japanese airlines. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. And serious talk here, guys, I know a lot of you sometimes question my research, and yeah, sure, sometimes I miss really obvious things, but between this episode and that deep dive into Korean copyright law from a few weeks ago, I hope you noticed that I try really hard. Anyway, this short is titled Pikachu's Summer Festival, and features Brock's Lombre, which he captures early on in the Battle Frontier arc. We get further support that this is indeed summer in the Pokemon anime from a second Pikachu short, Pikachu's Ghost Carnival, another of those airplane exclusives, which appears to be Pikachu and the gang celebrating the Hungry Ghost Festival, a traditional Buddhist celebration held in Asian countries like Japan. During the festival, which is held in August, ghosts are free to roam the earth where they seek food and entertainment. These ghosts are believed to be the ancestors of those who forgot to pay tribute to them after they died, or those who were never given a proper ritual send-off. And in the short, we clearly see the Pokemon putting out food for the spirits. We also clearly see Ash's Phanpy coming into the fun too, who just a few episodes later, number 154, reversing charges, will evolve. With this being in August, once again, Ash has crossed his birthday, making him, drumroll please, 15. Ah! Why can't this kid ever get acne? Or some awkward body hair? It would make this whole episode so much easier to do! Sorry about that outburst, but I'm now on hour 40 of researching this stuff, referencing episodes, cross-referencing Pokemon teams, analyzing day-night cycles, looking for every detail I can find, and I'm only up to season 9 of 20! 40 hours! Oh, it's like chipping away at a giant block. It's a good episode, but it is the most tedious process ever. Okay. I don't know if you can tell right now, but I'm quite literally losing my mind. So, if you'll excuse me, I have to cut it here. Otherwise, this thing is gonna be literally a 40-minute long episode that takes me 3 weeks just to write, and the editor is probably like a month to edit. So please do me a favor and make this all worth it by taking a guess in the comments as to what you think Ash's age is gonna be by the time I finish all my research. My guess is, let's see, we're in season 9 of 20. I'm gonna say like 21. We'll see. Anyway, I'm excited to see your guesses. In the meantime, I'm gonna go take a shower because I don't shower until I finish scripts. Yes, I know that's gross, but it just shows you how dedicated I am to grinding away at these things until they're done. And then I'm gonna hop back in for another, whatever, 600 episodes that I have to cover. Expect part 2 of this theory out in a couple days, or at the latest next week. Probably have a FNAF one mixed in there too, since Ultimate Custom Night's coming out and the new book and all that. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. Please. It'll make me feel better about all the time I've literally sunk down the drain writing this thing. And in the meantime, remember, that's just a theory. A theory that was way too aggressive to write in the middle of E3 and VidCon. I need a nap. Ooh, and a shower. First the shower.